The Middletown High School chapter of Quill, the International Honorary Society for High School Journalists, took a trip to Washington, D.C. to learn more about journalism and sightsee around the city.
We've gone to Washington, D.C. several times, and it's a great place to look at how media covers this country, the politics of this country, and basically the birthplace of our nation.
I originally decided to go on the trip because I really love the people that are in the class, and I knew it would just be a really good time to be able to just spend more time with them and get to know them better. And I was really excited to explore more of DC in parts that I haven't been to yet.
Well, I went to the trip in sophomore year. It was really fun. We didn't have one last year because of COVID, but I figured I'd go on it again because I had fun last time, so.
To start our trip, after driving to the metro station in Rockville, we took the metro to Arlington to check into our hotel and then traveled to Southeast DC to the Veterans Home in Anacostia, where we watched a cameraman from WJLA cover the Veterans Day ceremony there and listened to him tell us about the process of making a news piece on the event. We also got to ask the veterans questions about their time in the military, and we were featured in WJLA's news.
One of the things we were able to do was going out with my cousin, Matt, who's a photojournalist for a Washington, D.C. television station, and being able to go out with him on assignment as we went to a veterans home, and they were covering Veterans Day there, and watch how he works, and watch how he edits, and see how the professionals really do it. That was a very rewarding experience.
We then walked to the White House, which was a great experience, to both be that close to the home of the president and see a few people protest about their different opinions. We then tried to go to the Trump International Hotel, which unfortunately was closed due to COVID-19.
The tower at the Trump International Hotel was closed because of COVID, so that wasn't good. There were a lot of places that we intended to go, but COVID got in the way. Things are still closed. So we made the best of it. We did a lot of outdoor touring.
After the White House, once the sun started setting, we went to the Wharf, an area of D.C. with great restaurants and shops, and an amazing waterfront view. We took a water taxi from the Wharf to Alexandria, which was awesome, as we got to have a great view of the D.C. skyline, especially since it was dark, which made all of the buildings much more visible.
My favorite part of the trip would have to be when we went to the Wharf at night, and then he just gave us time to walk around and explore. And then me, Angela, and Lauren, we went around and took pictures, and we got food, and we got to explore the area. And then at the end, we got to take a water taxi ride, which was super cool because you could see all of the city at night when you're on the water, so that was awesome.
My favorite part of the trip was going down to the Wharf and taking a water taxi up to Alexandria. That was really fun.
Yeah, I also liked going to the Wharf.
We started out on Friday by going to the Eastern Market on the Metro, from where we walked to the Supreme Court building, which is very cool, especially from a journalism perspective, as so much reporting is done on the decisions that are made in the Supreme Court, as a lot of them are so detrimental to the country. Then we walked right over to the Capitol building, which we could only get so close to.
We like to go to the Capitol, and we're not able to get inside the Capitol right now. That might have less to do with COVID than with other things.
Again, the Capitol building was very cool from a journalism perspective, as the presidential inauguration takes place there, which is always heavily reported on. Then, after going into the American History Museum, which was cool to learn a bit more of our country's history, we started our walk of the monuments.
My favorite part was definitely the monument walk because it was just so powerful and definitely represented what we've been through.
Probably visiting the monument and like the World War II memorial. It was very cool. I've been there before, but it was nice to see it again, so.
We started at the Washington Monument, which is very cool to be right next to, considering how iconic it is and how far of a distance you can see it from. We then walked to the World War II memorial, which has 56 pillars that represent U.S. states and territories. After this, we walked up to the Lincoln Memorial, which I personally didn't realize is as big as it actually is until I got up close to it. Also, the view of the Washington Monument is amazing from the Lincoln Memorial. To finish the walk, we took a look at the Vietnam War Memorial, which is the names of all 55,000 people who died in the war in chronological order of the year that they died in. Also, it's in the shape of a giant V, which is very cool. To finish the night, we traveled to Georgetown, which is a very nice area of the city and has lots of great restaurants and stores. We ate dinner there and walked around, exploring the different features of the area. This wrapped up the sightseeing for the trip, as we went back to the hotel after this. That wrapped up the entire trip, as the next morning, We went back to Rockville on the Metro, and then drove back to Middletown High School from there. The field trip to Washington, D.C. was very fun, and I plan to go on more trips with Quill and Scroll in the future.
Well, we always like to make a trip to New York when we get a chance, because it is the media capital of the world, so we'll see what the spring brings. Perhaps we'll make a trip up to New York for that. If not, we will be waiting until next fall when there is the Journalism Education Association convention, which I'm not sure exactly where it's going to be held, but it'll be held in another part of the country, and that'll make a great trip for us as well.